And today we're talking about show promotion. Your co-hosts for today are, in alphabetical order, Cheryl Piper. Hello, Cheryl.
Hello, Stephen.
And RJ Redden. Hello,
Good
RJ.
morning. It's lovely to see you.
It's lovely to see you as well. I've got a cup of tea, and we're just waiting momentarily while our third co-host comes into the lobby section. Today's topic is, let's get all the graphics up. Welcome to the show and show promotion with Cheryl Piper, RJ Redden, and drumroll, Bridgetti then Banda. Hello, Bridgetti.
Hello, everyone. Hello, RJ. Hello, Cheryl.
Hello.
Right, and I'm going to start off with a topic that Cheryl suggested, and then I'm going to go down into the lobby, and the show is yours. And the first topic is, because we're going to talk about promotion, obviously, show promotion, and the first topic is, if I can get it on the screen, is tools for creating show promotion material. And Cheryl, it's over to you.
Thank you so much, Stephen. Yes, and welcome everyone. Welcome to the show. Those of you who are watching us live and those of you catching us on the replay. Please feel free to put your comments, suggestions, anything. We are here to be interactive. This show is for you. How about it, guys? Bridgetti and RJ, yes.
Yes. Okay. I'm all ready to talk about show promotion. This is an exciting topic, and I know that a lot of first-timers are very interested in this.
Absolutely. And, I thought this was a good subject as far as the tools and just a few of the tools that I use. I use canva.com. Mm-hmm. And with Canva, I'm able to create show graphics. I'm able to create show cards. I'm able to create flyers. You're just able to create so much with this platform. And it really does help to be able to create that show card to kind of give a little promo, especially when you're having an interview, when you're having a guest, to let people know who's coming on the show, what you're going to be talking about, when is the show, what time is it, what time zone is it in, all of those things, to be able to put that out before we actually create, the show inside of BeLive. And then another one that I use is I use Lumen 5, which is fantastic for creating video. There's so many fun videos that you can create to create a story inside of Lumen 5. And I'm going to not talk so much about that because I know RJ loves that too. And I'm going to leave some room for you and Bridgetti to talk about that. And then, there are other ones that you can use on your phone, like Quirk. Is that how I say it, or is it Quick? I think it's Quick. And that really is good for creating video on your phone. And something that, whatever you have a couple images and you want to drop some text in, create a quick little video to be able to push that promo out. And that's easy to push out to Instagram, and to Facebook and Twitter and all of those areas. And I know we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But those are the two tools that I really use a lot in show prep. And, just get in there and have fun with them and play around and be creative because they have free versions. And that's the other thing I forgot to mention, free. So that's what I have to say about that. RJ, what do you have to say?
Well, I love discovering tools that are free to use and that provide so much value to a show promotion. And so, Canva, you covered that one. The beauty of Canva is that I have a little show card section set up, and that every day I go in there, I change the title, I change my picture, and I download it and I'm off. I don't have to. Once you've got it set up in Canva, which is free, unless you want the pro version, which I tried the pro version once. There's not that much more in it, honestly. Free is good. once you have it, you don't have to rocket science that up every single time. And that's one of the things I love Canva for. And then, of course, my Lumen 5. I don't know how I got along without Lumen 5, everyone. It is amazing. So what it does is it uses a series of pictures and images and text. Basically, you load the text that you want into Lumen 5, and it creates something for you that you can then adjust, tweak, and send out. It's really beautiful. What I do is I just use the very same text that I'm writing into Be Live when I'm starting the show. A couple of paragraphs of show description. I just use that for the Lumen 5 video. There's nothing more to it. So by the time I hit Lumen 5, I already got my text. I cut and paste in. They do some magic on the back end. I adjust some of the pictures, and then boom, I am out there. The other cool thing is that you can do a landscape, which is really great for Facebook and Twitter, or you can do a square, which is really great for Instagram. And if you want to go the paid route, paid version of Lumen 5, you can also do the vertical video for IGTV. So you can, take the same video, change the size, send it out over different social networks. So it's beautiful. I always put my show time, and where it is at the end of the video, and I include a link. When I put the video out there, I include the link to the show at the bottom so that people can join me. So I can't get over that. I discovered that a couple months ago because my expensive friendship with Stephen Healy led me to checking it out because I saw what he was using. I was like, who is making the videos for this? This is awesome. So definitely something that I get a high level of use from for show promotion. Okay. I don't want to rant the whole time about software coolness. Bridgetti, what do you do for show promotion?
Well, I use exactly what you do. I mean, I love, love, love it. But I want to quickly say a warm welcome to everyone watching us live. There's Linda, Marco, Elaine, Rebecca, Clara. Welcome to the show. Welcome to hearing our tips for live video promotion. So I want to talk just for a second about why show promotion is so important. Show promotion is as important for an online event the same as you would for an offline event. So if you were hosting a business meeting or an event or anything, if you were holding a party, for example, no one's going to come to your party or your business event if you don't send out invitations. And you want to time it just right. Because if you send out, I mean, let's face it, we all live in a busy world. It's super, super, super hectic out there. So if somebody sends me an invitation and say, hey, can you come over to my party in an hour? I'm going to say, what? Really? No, I can't do that. So you don't want to put it out too long in advance. So we know how it works on Facebook. You can put out your show, you can plan it 7 days in advance. So you've got that 7 days where you can use the automatic promotion on Facebook where people can tick to get a reminder for your show. But if you want to start warming people up to the fact that it's coming before then, you can do other means of promoting by means of show cards, for example, and then use Canva for that. Do little videos, as we talked about, Lumen. Do that. So you want to give people enough notice so that they have the time to block out that little 30 minutes or an hour of their time to see your show. And then something that you mentioned, I think it was you, RJ, be specific. Tell them what the topic is. Tell them why they would want to come and see your show. Use a hook line of sorts. Leave a question. And a great tip here is to not make it about yourself. You want to show your audience what the value is in it for them. why they should time out to come and watch your show. Because unless they see the value, they're not going to understand, or they're not going to want to come to you. They'd rather go to someone else where they can see the value up front. And unfortunately, we lead busy lives, so we want to be very, very specific. Like, that's the question I'm going to answer, or this is why you should come. So that's kind of my introduction to tips for inviting people to a live stream.
That's a good start.
That's awesome.
It is. I agree, RJ. Can we see Cheryl?
I can see Cheryl.
Right, because I'm going to
disappear. Yes, I can see Cheryl too.
Right, okay. I'm going to go. I'm going to disappear. Sorry. It's going to be like this because I've got a black square where Cheryl should be, but I can't see her here.
I am here.
I'm going to go and try and fix it whilst you carry on. My apologies.
No, very good. Well, we're getting some really wonderful questions in the chat, ladies, and I would like to bring those up. One of them is, can you talk about, hold on, let me find it. Please discuss promo for a show launch versus an individual show. Oh, Stephen has it up on the screen as very good. He knows what I'm going for. Very good. So what do we do differently for launching a new show? Is it, and can we talk soft launch versus hard launch and different things like that? Who would like to take up this question?
Well, what I would do, for example, is if I'm going to launch a new show, especially if I've already got a dedicated audience, I would want them to come and see my new show. So when I'm doing my show that I already have an audience for, I'm going to consistently build up to that and talk about it so that people are going to be aware that this is something that's coming in the future. Not too much, but just a little bit, enough to make them curious, enough to want them to come and hear what it's about. So that would be my very, very first point of departure when it comes to promoting a new show.
Mm-hmm. Cheryl, what do you think?
Well, I agree with Bridgetti. That's where I was going. That's where my mind went with this as well. Because with my current show that I have, and I did just launch a new show off of that where I have a co-host, and I talk about that in my show. I want to let people know that there's a new show coming. And then now that show is happening, still let them know that this show is going on at a specific time, utilizing that audience. Because with mine, the subjects are pretty much the same, talking about what I do, and then, heart mind conversations. And then my new show is Messages of the Heart. But I have a co-host on that. And that's really fun to be able to, talk back and forth with having that co-host and let people know that there's going to be someone else to see, not just me talking, but there's someone else in that show. So kind of promoting it in that way to get them a bit excited on what that show is about, and putting out, if you're getting ready to do a show launch, putting out those show cards, letting people know what's happening, do the promotional graphics that, like Bridgetti was saying, that give just a little bit of information that are going to entice them to want to know, what is this show about? I want to check this out. So having that happen prior to, and then discussing it with your show.
Yeah, that's a really good one. And especially, kind of getting the look and the feel and the graphics out there. I think that, Elaine, I have a question back to you and everyone else watching. How excited are you about your new show? When you're doing a show launch, if you are incredibly excited, then I would communicate that as often as possible. People are busy these days. They don't catch everything that you do. And if you are excited and passionate about your new show, come on live. Talk to us about it for 5 minutes. let us know you've got a brand new guest that you've signed up and how excited that you are. Go 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out, and start talking about it on every channel where you have a community and drive people back to it. There's one thing, of course, that I failed to mention. It's early, and this cup of coffee is only at half mast, so I can't guarantee the quality right now. But I do have a client who's starting a show in a couple of weeks, and she is excited and passionate and getting on and talking about it, and then leading people to her reminder bot so that there will be people in there for the first show. So that's another way to get interested people in the seats, because I have to refer to them. It's a public service announcement at this point. But yeah, if you are passionate about that show, I want to hear about it. I want to hear about it, because when you are live streaming about your passion, it's so much different than it's so much different. People get such a different vibe out of it, and you will be able to communicate that passion and get people excited about your show. So that's what I know about that. I'm going to pre-launch a new show 6 weeks out to the launch date. Is that too long? What are your opinions, ladies?
Well, some teasers. I'm thinking, just a few little teasers to kind of let people know it's coming. And then I would, as we're coming up on that 6 week mark, the closer you get, pushing it out a bit more. I'm not sure that it's too long out to start doing a few little teasers.
Yeah, if you've got a good show promotion schedule laid out there, I don't think that it's too long. That's, if that's your preference, I think absolutely go with it. And if you get a lot of people saying we want a preview, do a little preview show. Do a preview the week before, and allow people to see, to hear your passion and communicate about what you're doing. I don't think it's too long at all. Bridgetti, what do you think?
No, not at all. I definitely don't think it's too long. One should, everything is. You've got a gut feel for your audience. Is my story, and you know what you know your audience better than anyone else. So I think it's best for you as the host to make an assessment of how to share things, because every show is different. Every audience is different. And one thing I've learned about audiences is that they don't want to think about stuff. You need to be very, very specific and clear about how you want something and when you want something.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Excellent. Stephen, is there a BeLive pre-launch checklist? Whoa! I don't know if I've ever seen one. Have you ladies ever seen one?
No, but that's a great question.
I don't think that I have. I don't have that many people starting shows, so I have a pre-show individual show checklist. I absolutely have one of those. Not everything on it always gets done, people. Sometimes this office is a crazy place, but I do have a pre-individual show. I don't have a pre-launch checklist anywhere. I'm sure you could Google around and find one, but that's not very specific to what you're doing necessarily. So, wish there was. It's a great idea, and we love it. Cheryl, do you use any specific tools to help you with promoting your individual shows? Do you have any organizational items that you use?
Well, that's one of my items that I had sent over to Stephen as far as prepping a guest. And we can walk into that if you'd like to. Is that okay with you, Stephen? Yeah, okay. So here we go. Great segue, RJ. Love it. Okay. So prepping guests for interview. This is where, I do have a document that I send over to my guests before they're coming on. It lets them know, you know, I ask them about a theme. I ask them about a few questions that they would like, because just because they do a specific type of business, I'm not going to assume that's what they want to talk about. And so give me a theme that you would like to discuss, a few questions that you would like me to ask. It also has questions that I'm going to ask. You know, I like to ask at the end, I like to do things like, oh, what's your favorite book that you would like to recommend out? And, you know, things like that. Any tips that you may have. Those are questions that I like to ask everyone. So I let them know that those questions will be coming. It's also a tech sheet. It has, okay, you need to be using Chrome. Excuse me. You need to do a speed test to make sure that, you know, all of that information, I try to give as much to that guest to make them comfortable, especially if I know they haven't ever done this before. If I'm going to interview you, RJ, I'm not sending you that sheet because I know you know. Exactly. I'm gonna ask you, what do you want to talk about, and some questions. It'll be much smaller. But if it's someone who's never been on the show before, you know, they're going to be a little bit nervous about that. They've maybe never been on camera. They don't know what to expect. And so having that sheet ahead of time helps them to prepare. And also it allows them to send over the information that they would like to discuss in the show, and making sure that that's covered. Because when I interview somebody, I'm there to help them. That's my goal. I want to help promote them and whatever their business is and push their message out to the world, because that's what it's about, is using this platform, and you have a passion in pushing that message out to the world. And so that sheet helps to make them comfortable. I also bring them in 10 minutes ahead of time. I say, please log in 10 minutes ahead of time. That way, you know, we can check everything out, make sure things are working smoothly. I talk to them, let them know what to expect as far as going back down to the lobby, coming back up. I will announce them. And it's just getting them at ease with the whole process. And so, yes, definitely, I do have a document for that. And my reasoning is to create that sense of ease for that person that's coming on and I'm going to be speaking with. So how about you ladies?
Go ahead, Bridgetti.
Yes, I totally agree with you there. I do find, you know, you can send people, and I've seen this so many times, you can send people documents. I've even done a video to show people how to join a show. But there is nothing like having somebody in the lobby and making them feel comfortable before a show. Because people are by nature, they're nervous, they're apprehensive, especially if they're first-time guests. Are you getting feedback?
A little bit.
Echo.
Little.
Because I'm getting terrible feedback when I speak.
Yeah, do you want to refresh, and we'll continue, and then have you back talking about very good. The interview process is, if you are going to have an interview show, that is definitely something that you want to pay attention to, is having instructions. Listen, in all things, if you make yourself dead easy to work with, people will come back. People will recommend people to you. It takes some thought. You know, you may want to get with somebody who has an interview show, who has one of these sheets already to prep one of these things. You may not want to start from scratch because it is work, but it is so valuable to the people that you're with, and you will have so much of a better interview if you have properly prepped that human being, and if you have, you know, talked to them and made them comfortable and given them a seat in the lobby. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And go right ahead, Arj. I was just going to say, go ahead.
I was just going to read that comment by Marco. But Rebecca has a question for us as well. What if your guests are low tech? What do you have guests that are low tech, Cheryl?
Well, I do. Hence, that is why I send this document, because I really do have it laid out very simple. And if they have any questions, then we can work with that. I can talk with them. I can create a Loom video. I love to create Loom videos. They're so awesome and so easy. And if anyone is not familiar with that, it is a Google Chrome extension, and you click on it and you start a video, and you can walk through whatever is on your screen and explain it to anyone. And then you just send that link off to them via email. They open it up and they can see exactly what you're trying to tell them to do. So much easier than trying to walk someone through it when they're not really seeing what you're talking about. How about you, RJ? I mean, that's...
It's useloom.com, everyone. And when you're talking to people who don't have a lot of technology, all you have to do is click the button, make a step by step it, pause a lot while you're talking, and it's so much easier. I've always made videos for people, but the problem was, you've got to download the video, you've got to process it, you've got to put it somewhere, you've got to give them the link. Loom does it for you. Loom just does it for you. And it is so much easier for me to rip out a video. I could do one every 5 minutes. And it's so much easier for them because all they have to do is hit a link. They're right there. So I can't get over useloom.com. Can't get over that. It's free too.
It's free. It's sitting right on my Chrome bar. All I have to do is click on it. There it is, and it's great for anything. Like, say you're doing a show card for someone, and they're trying to tell you what they want to change. So much easier to walk through the Loom video and do that rather than going back and forth. It saves a lot of time, don't you think? It's a time saver.
If there's one thing we're all starved for, it's time. It is. So that's a great one. If you have low-tech guests, definitely consider that sheet. Definitely talk them through stuff. And if you need to, make a video on Loom to make everything extra super clear for them. Your guest will feel cared about, and that will lead to a much better interview for you.
May I just say one more thing in there about making the guests comfortable? Yeah, and it's that time in the lobby, and creating that comfort. Because one thing that I always tell someone, especially if I can tell if they're a little nervous, is I say, you know what? This is live and things happen. And guess what? We're going to laugh and we're going to have fun and we're just going to move on with it. And it really does help to relax them when they're like, oh, well, we can just laugh at ourselves and just move on. Yes. And it kind of takes that pressure off to know that we're just having a conversation. That's what I say. We're just having a conversation here.
That's right.
Welcome back, Bridgetti.
Thank you. Well, I have low-tech guests almost all the time. And the way I get them comfortable is by telling them that going live with me is very similar to having a Skype conversation. Skype's been around as long as the hills, and everyone knows what Skype is, and the concept of Skype, they get that. And so I tell them that this is no different from a Skype conversation. The only difference is that we're talking to each other the same way as in Skype. The only difference here is that other people are watching our conversation. That's the only difference. And that immediately seems to help them to get comfortable because it's a familiarity that they can relate to. And so I get them in early. We have a conversation. What I also do is I unfortunately have internet connectivity issues fairly often. So what I do is every show I will explain to my guests that I do sometimes have an internet issue. And if they see me disappear off the screen, they must not panic, so that they expect that up front. And I tell them just continue talking and I will simply refresh my screen and I will come back again. And I also tell them that if at some point I see that the screen is pixelated or I can't hear you, I'm going to ask you to refresh your browser. And believe it or not, especially when it's a low-tech person, they're not even going to know what it means to refresh your browser. So you have to literally explain to them exactly what it is, because the last thing you want to do is you don't want to make your guests feel stupid because they don't understand the tech. Because these may be highly qualified people, but they're only tech challenged. So you don't want to sound condescending when you explain the tech parts to them, but you want to do it in such a manner that it makes them feel comfortable. Because I find also, especially if you're having guests on that are highly educated people, they don't want to appear foolish. And that's the last thing you want to do. Because the success of your show hinges on how good you make your guests look.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important to do whatever it takes to make your guests feel comfortable before you go live, because it's going to make you look good when you can make your guests look good and make them shine. Because that's what it's about at the end of the day when you are hosting a show and you have a guest. It's about the value that your guest is going to bring to your audience. So if you unnerve your guest or you make them feel uncomfortable, it's going to ruin your entire broadcast. And why would you want to do that? So take the time, be patient, be gentle, make them feel good.
Very good. We had a question. Here we go. Rebecca is saying how to tell them to refresh on the phone. So if you have a guest, you're doing an interview and the folks need to refresh on their phone, how do you kind of walk them through that experience? Cheryl, have you ever had that happen?
I've never had that happen. Someone else take that. I've never had that happen.
I've had that happen. And what they need to do is literally just close the app. And it's not that hard. Just close the app, open it again using the same link. So same as with the Google Chrome browser. And again, I want to just spend just a quick minute on that. You can tell people many times you can only click on the link on the Google Chrome browser. And people don't always get that, even though you've explicitly said Google Chrome. And so often they'll show up and they say, well, I see this black screen, I can't see you. And then you'll ask them again, but just be patient, be gentle. Are you using the Chrome browser? Do you see anywhere that it, this is, and perhaps what you could do is show them what the logo looks like to make sure that they are actually using Google.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they think they are, but they're not, because their default browser is set to something else. And so all they do when they get the link is they click on the link, and they don't, sometimes people don't even realize what the difference between the browsers are. So you've got to really just dumb it down and make sure that your guest understands. Send them the logo. Send them the Be Live logo. I've had that before as well. So now I send them the Be Live logo. So when they download the app, that is what the Be Live logo looks like. Mm-hmm. Make it as simple as possible.
Absolutely. And once again, making it dead easy for people to work with you will bring them back and will, they encourage them to make referrals, and more interview guests will come from there. So if you really love doing an interview shows, there's tons of experience here on Be Live with doing those types of shows and having great success with it. As these two ladies exemplify. That's my biggest word for the morning. Very good. Rebecca had a comment there about most of her guests being on phones because they're horse people and mostly outside. Excelente. That's a wonderful thing to keep in mind. Where is your audience watching from? I know that in my very early days of doing my Black Belt Bot show, I was doing some kind of tutorials and stuff like that and showing people how to do stuff on the screen as I was doing it. Yeah, if people are watching on their phone, they will never, ever see that. They will never see that detail. So keeping in mind where your audience is watching from is a really great thing too. Okay, back to show promo. Your setup and background. Cheryl, do you want to start that topic off?
I will. And I love this subject because it's very important for you to set up what you want people to see. It is going to project your image, what you are about, what your show is about. And I think it just sets a really nice scene for people to be able to view. Now I look at RJ, I look at what's back there. You've got Yoda. I mean, I love Yoda. And so, and Bridgetti, your background is beautiful. And I set up my background so that I really put things in a specific place. You can see in my background, it says, welcome to the show, back on my bookshelf. I printed that. And where I got that idea? I got that from Bridgetti. I saw you had that one time, Bridgetti, and I was like, I love that idea. And so I went in and I printed up a card and I put it back on my bookshelf. And I have a candle lit. I have the word love beside me on my corner or beside my shoulder, because I am talking about love, compassion, kindness, forgiveness. These are the things that I talk about on my show. And so I would like my background to reflect what I talk about. And so think about what people are seeing. If you look to the right, and I'm not sure, I think the view, you may be able to see this. To my right, I think that you'll see a round globe glowing on my desk. Mm-hmm. And I put that there purposely where it is. And then you can see a little bit, because I have a Mac computer on my other desk. So I have a couple little things. You can see the keyboard and the pad there. But I'm very clear about what I want you to see. Like, I don't want you to see the mess that's sitting over here. I don't want you to see the jackets that I have hanging, and I decide what jacket am I going to wear today, and they're hanging. I don't want you to see those things. I want you to see the background. So, and talking, I'm going to go back to guests again. Talking to your guests about this as well, because guests may come on and that's why you need that time, bringing them in the lobby earlier to make them comfortable and also to set them up properly. Because I've had guests show up and they're sitting right in front of a window and they're completely blacked out. Mm-hmm. I can't see them at all. And so I have to, like Bridgetti was saying, gently guide them and keeping them comfortable to a better spot so that what their background is showing, first of all, highlights them the best. And second of all, really is a setting that they want to project out to the world. Because we all need to understand that when we create these videos, people are watching live, people are watching on the replay. They're there. And so this is your image that you're pushing out to the world. And I'll let you guys take it from there.
I do want to expand a little bit. Oh, I'm still getting feedback.
Do you want to
hearing the feedback?
I was just a second. Oh, now it seems to be better, Bridgetti. Seems to be better.
Is it better?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Perfect. Yeah. So the other thing I want to talk about briefly in terms of background is the positioning of your guest. As I mentioned earlier, you want to make your guest look good. And so I'm very big on, when I'm preparing my guests, to make sure that they're positioned right in front of the camera. Apart from the background look, you want to make sure that you're not looking at your guest up their nose, or that you're seeing too much of the ceiling. Because remember, these are not people that are broadcasters like us. So we pay attention to those kind of details. But, for your guests, it's a different experience. So you don't only want to make sure that people can hear your guest, but you want to make sure your guest looks good on camera. Because once you've got that video, it's going to live on. And I don't think your guest is going to want to come back if you make them look bad on camera. So make sure that they're positioned nicely, that they're sitting in the center, that their lighting is great, that they're seeing the best side of their features, they're not seeing too much of the ceiling or too much of the floor or whatever. take time to do that, apart from just the background. Make sure that it's that visually the person looks good. I mean, is this, for example, I like to make sure that my guest and I are at the same height. You know, if you're looking at the height from your head to the top, I try and make sure that my guest and I are roughly the same height, because then the video looks visually good. Or you don't want a scenario where I'm going to just give you an example of what that can look like. I mean, the three of us are pretty equal right now, but just look at what I'm doing right now. If I'm right in front of the camera like that, it doesn't look very good, does it? Compared to the two of you. So those are little things that can make a big difference. And I'm hearing that.
It's back.
Yes, I'm going to refresh again.
Okay, you refresh, and I have a question for Cheryl.
Okay.
Okay, so you do a lot of interview shows. Do you ever, in your instructions to them, give them instructions or swipe copy to promote the show as well?
Well, yes. You know, I do. I mean, I send over that's a great question, RJ. I will send over, you know, those, the promotional graphics that I create, the show card, all of that, the video, whatever I'm using to promote, I want them to promote that as well. And so what I do is when I'm very clear in my description of how I write, and I'm always tagging whoever it is. And then this is thank you so much for bringing this up, because this is a big one. It's very important to tag the people that you're interviewing in your description so that it does show up on their feed. But here's the big one, is a lot of people like me, I have my page locked down. My personal profile is locked down. The only way that anything that I'm tagged on is going to go on my page is by me allowing it to go on my page.
Right.
And so some people, and I've had this happen before with guests, some people don't know that they are locked down like that. So they don't know that things that they're tagged on are not showing up. And so what I do is, after I've tagged someone, I will go and look at their page, and I will see, did it show up? And if it didn't show up, then I will send a message out to them and say, perhaps you need to look in your activities log and check your timeline review. And if they don't know how to do that, once again, Loom Video is
Loom
great.
Video.
You know, you just walk them right through and show them where that is, how to get to that in their profile. And I've had people say, oh my goodness, look at all this stuff in here. I didn't know it was in here. No wonder things weren't showing up, and they didn't know. But those type of things, in helping people to those are the extra steps to make sure that the promotion goes out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if you're doing an interview, then ideally double promotion. You know, ideally you have that person also promoting the show. I find that, and I don't do interviews very often, so that's why I'm kind of hanging back and just asking questions. But with that, I find that if I make it dead easy for people, hey, here's something you can cut and paste into a post, and if you want to tweak that, that's cool. You know, here's a graphic to send, here's some cut and paste copy, here's some stuff. This is my promo schedule. That kind of stuff makes it even, it's icing on the cake. It makes it even easier to work with you. And, you know, because sometimes I think that people have good intentions. Absolutely, I'm going to promo this. But you know, things get in the way. Whereas if you've got it all set it up beforehand and say, hey, here's the stuff, would love for you to use it if you want to, it's all available for you, then I think it's so much of a better experience for your guest. And you'll get more people in the seats for your show as well. Go ahead. Oh, she's gone.
No, we lost Bridgetti again.
Okay.
Well, until she comes back, I would like to extend on that and say promoting out, to other avenues. Promoting out
Oops,
to
I got booted down. We're having fun and games today, aren't we? I wanted I wanted to pick up something on a question from Elaine, and I think Stephen was reading my mind there. What's the easiest way to get folks to watch and comment live at the right link? So what I do is at the outset of the show, I will remind people that if they are unable to comment, because sometimes people will comment, and this has happened to me, full admission here. You don't always pay attention to that, even though that notice is in your show promotion, where you say, please click on this link. Sometimes people miss it when they're busy. And I do that. Honestly, I make that mistake often when I'm watching someone else's show. And it's only when I comment and I realize they're not seeing my comment, I'm like, oops, oh my goodness, I'm in the wrong place. So it's great to, when you're talking every now and then, say to people just gently, if you're unable to comment, if I can't see your comments, you're not watching at the right link, please go and check the link in the description and click on that link so that I can see your comments. So it's just a gentle reminder, and that helps.
Yeah, a gentle reminder and an invitation to join you at the right place. I do that at the beginning of every show, and I also do, and not, I certainly put the link in the description, but I put it way up front. I'll put the show title, whoop, and then to join us live and comment, and then little arrows down, and then the show link, so that later I'll refer to it during the show and say, by the way, if you are not watching on the Black Belt Bots page, then and then I'll point to the link and say hit on that, and because I'm here, I want to answer all your questions. So just a little simple invitation a couple of times during the show, and putting it like calling attention to it in your show description, because sometimes I see that people kind of bury them a little bit in the show description. It's not always easy to find, especially if it's below the cutoff where Facebook kind of cuts it off and puts the word see more. Front and center, baby. Front and center for me. So that's
I love that as well. I love that as well, RJ. I also like to have it before the see more, because if it's below the see more, people are going to miss it. So keep your title descriptive enough, but short enough so that you have space to call attention to your link, because you want people to see that up front. And then there was also a comment from Elaine. Because when I was talking earlier about positioning yourself in front of the camera, right, and positioning your guest, and she said that sometimes it's a great idea to move forward if you want to make a point, and that's absolutely okay. That's perfect, because then you're using it to emphasize something specific, and it has the desired effect. But if you move, if you sit comfortably back, then moving forward has the desired effect, as opposed to, even when it doesn't matter whether you're doing a show by yourself or you have a guest, you could do that for emphasis. And there's various ways of doing that. I mean, Owen, for example, when he wants to emphasize a point, he does that high five thing. Yes. And we all know him for that, So there's various ways that we can use the camera effectively and make eye contact with people. And that's one of the things also that'll draw people to you or to your shows, is if people feel connected to you during your show. And you can use the camera to do that, to make that personal connection, because if you're looking up or you're looking down or somewhere else, and you're looking a little bit distracted, you want to look towards the camera so that people can see you are actually paying attention to them. So that's a quick camera tip thrown in there.
There was a little Using Trello for organization. Okay. I'm keeping up with Stephen, production, our producer extraordinaire today. So using Trello for organization, that is one thing that has really saved my bacon a number of times. No matter how many times you've prepped for a show, that you've done your individual show promotion, not a launch, but just your individual show, no matter how many times you've done it, there are just steps in there that if you're in a hurry, you'll forget. And so I use something called Trello. It's another free product that is highly, highly recommended. It allows you to put a reusable checklist. And so each one of my shows contains all of the information. I put a card that has the title of the show on it and the date. And if you click inside it, it has my pre-show prep checklist. It has my post-show promotion checklist. It has the link to the show, the description of the show card is in there. So if I ever need to return to a show for some information, I've got it all in one spot. It's super easy to use, and I rely on it for show promotion because sometimes, I'm doing some stuff at the last minute and I get busy. I don't want to miss, like I did yesterday, putting the show link in the description. I don't want to miss those things because I want to provide an excellent experience for the viewers. And I also want to get that show promoted every place I can get it promoted. We were talking a little bit before. Promote on different channels, bring people over to Facebook to watch your show or to catch the replay. I put promos out on when I'm doing my full on stuff, when I've, begun appropriately. I'll put it on Twitter. I'll put it out on LinkedIn, certainly Facebook. Some people even do, little live streams, live stream before the live stream to do some show promotion. So many beautiful things available. Whatever plan you start with, these are the things that I'm going to do to promote my show. You can put it in a place called Trello. You can put it in a reusable checklist, and every time you can check off those items as you go and know that you're fully prepared. And that is a huge time saver because I never have to think, what have I done? What have I not done? I never have to think that. And I know that my shows are promoted appropriately every single time. So you ladies use some organizational tools. We kind of went over that before a little bit. Anything to add there?
I've got to go, Cheryl.
Well, I was just going to say really quickly that I really do handle this myself, and I am going to use Trello more. And I really am. Thank you. You have inspired me. Normally what I do is, I have my list of things that I do when I'm doing my show myself. If I'm doing an interview show, I do have a folder inside. I have a BeLive folder on my computer. Each person I'm interviewing, I have created a folder for them. When I create the promos, when I get their information, everything that I have on that person for that interview is in that folder. And so I know that if I need to look for whomever if I interviewed RJ, you've got a folder on my because I interviewed you. So I can go in there and I can see the MP4 I downloaded after the interview. So yeah. I download that, I put it in because I sent that to you. I put your images in there. I put your bio in there. I put, that's my organization is I create that. I know exactly where it is. I know that it's that person's folder. It's very simple for me, but I am going to use Trello more. I'm inspired.
It really is a nice tool. And then when you're repurposing, which we want everybody to do. Repurpose people. Don't rely on the feed to get you the kind of views you want. Don't do this. Repurpose. But when you're going back after the show and doing your post show repurposing, it's so much easier. Everything's in one place. If you need to shoot a link out to somebody because they missed something or something like that, the information is just all right there for you, and it saves you so much time, and it makes you look like a rock star. And if you're a person who has interviews, it makes your interviewee look like a rock star as well. So very good. Bridgetti, did you have any comments on that?
I use the folder system as well. I have not warmed up to Trello really. I've used it in the past, but for me, I use the folder system. So interview as well, and I use my notepad extensively. So there's a note for every single guest that I've ever had, and I have a list of all the steps before the show and after the show, and for each person I have the exact same steps. It's never any different for any show. So there's familiarity for me. Same routine, same ritual every single time. And I do that and never have to think about it. As what you said now with Trello, you want to use a system that works for you, something that's effortless, something that will not have you scratch your head when you're planning a show.
Right.
Just make simple repeatable steps. Whatever method you use, it must be repeatable, so that with every show you're doing, whether it's a solo or with a guest, the steps are the same. Mm-hmm. Don't think about it. It's always, there's always a certain, even if you're an experienced live streamer, there's always a measure of angst before you go live. And that's perfectly normal. And you can reduce that angst substantially if you don't have to think about the routine stuff.
Yeah.
If you've got that all down, whatever your system, just find something that works for you and then follow that system religiously. Don't change anything. You can always grow it, but then if you add in stuff, add it for each person. If you found out, for example, I can add this little tweak, then tweak it throughout the system, so that when you have a guest back for a second time, you don't want to kind of go, oops, I wanted to do that because it worked for so-and-so. You can avoid that if you have the same thing for every single guest. Basically, you want to make it as easy for yourself as possible. You don't want to scratch your head.
Right.
Just have a simple, and it doesn't have to be complicated. Simple is good.
Simple is good. Well, I want to answer Rebecca's question here. Is the link to comment live the same link to join the show as a guest? It is actually not. And the way that you can tell, Rebecca, is if you look at the guest link, it will actually say the word guest in there. I think that BeLive did that because when you make those two links, the link to actually watch the show and the link to join as a guest, when they don't have any differentiator, it's really hard to tell. They're not the same link. And how you tell is you look in there, you'll see the word guest on the guest link.
I want to tell you something funny real quick.
Yeah.
I now make a habit of when I send someone the guest link, I actually say to them, do not share this link with anyone else. This is your link. And then when I send them the link, it's the link for your guests only, people you want to invite to come and watch your show. Because you know what happened to me?
What?
I once started a show, and someone else that I wasn't expecting popped up in the lobby, and it's like, how did this person get there? So what happened is my guest had sent them the guest link.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And so from that day forward, I always made sure to tell them, do not send this link to anyone. This link is only for you.
That's a great tip, Bridgetti. You know what? I'm going to start doing that because I do say, here is the guest link for you to log in, but I may add what you just said to it, just to put that little bit extra when I send it over to people. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, my darlings, I need to run. It's almost 10. Can we get Stephen on here? I know, right? How did we do that again? Yeah. You guys, next time we do a 5 days live, I think that we need to do a day on interviews as opposed to just solo shows, because look how much information. And I don't do interview shows, but I don't think that we even broke the top of it. I think we just got the tip of the iceberg there. So what a great show today. Yeah, I'm going to have to say thanks and bug out because I got an appointment to go to, but thank you so much, ladies. You're the best. Thanks for coming on camera and sharing your genius today, because we all need to know it. And, you're the best. Stephen, also the best. Be Live TV, we love. And I'm going to see everybody later because I got to go.
Bye, RJ.
Bye, RJ.
Bye.
Hey. Right. Now, not only is it the end of the show, it's the end of 5 days live this time round. And on behalf of everybody who's involved, narrator who's involved, I'd just like to say thank you, everybody who's taken part in the 5 shows. A special thank you to both Cheryl and Bridgetti, who have appeared in the shows, and you've just sort of blown us away with all the hints, tips and tricks. So final word is yours, and we'll go alphabetically again. Bridgetti.
I want to say a huge big thank you to you, Stephen, because a lot of people don't realize how much work goes into producing a show. Having a show on Facebook is very different to somebody just hitting the go live button, and people don't realize that. When you're producing a show, there is tons and tons of work. There's hours of work that goes into preparation, to promoting the show, to making sure it runs smooth, to make sure that your guest is okay. And there's a lot of planning involved. And so I want to say a special thank you to you, Stephen, because I know from the inside that it's taken a lot of time and a lot of work for you to put together the 5 days live to promote it. You've done a great job of the promotion. So anybody watching, if you saw what Stephen did, everyone knew the 5 days live was coming. Everyone knew when it was going to happen. Everyone knew it was going to be on the show. It was promoted weeks in advance, and he talked about it in the shows that led up in the weeks leading up to 5 days live. So hats off to you, Stephen. And I want to say great big thanks. An audience is always engaging. So everyone who joined us today live, thank you very, very much. For everyone who shared the show, thank you very much for that. And we will be back, no doubt, with another 5 days live, and looking forward to that. So from me, I want to say a huge big thank you to everyone.
Sure.
And I'm going to start out the same way. Thank you so much, Stephen. You have put so much work into these training shows to help everyone. You are always there, ready to help. Anyone can count on you for any tips at all when they're having a challenge. And I just want to say a big thank you to you for that. I would love to thank I do have to run, so I'm going to have to wrap it up a little more quickly. I'd love to thank the audience, everybody that engaged with us today. I mean, that's what it's about, is going back and forth, being interactive with you, your questions, your comments, and because you give as much good advice as we do. You know, and that's what's so amazing about having that wonderful live audience. And for those of you who are watching on the replay, thank you so much. And thank you for those who've shared it out. I am just honored to have been asked to be part of the shows this week. And I look forward to us doing more. And I agree with RJ. I think a day on interviews would be excellent. So let us know your thoughts on that. Thank you so much. Again, I'm Cheryl Piper. Have a wonderful day.
Cheryl, thank you. And we look forward to seeing you all again soon. I've no doubt when we chat afterwards that we'll all decide that we want to come back, and it would be a great way to start the new year with a 5 days live in January. So I'm just dropping that hint there to everybody who's listening. Doing these shows is a lot of fun because we get on together as friends and we enjoy broadcasting virtually every day of the week, Monday through Friday, on the shows we do where we co-host. And I'm looking forward to next week, because next week is a bit quieter. And I want to say thank you to Clara, Elaine, Rebecca, Marco, and everybody who's joined us today, everybody who's joined us during the week. And we look forward to seeing you later, not today, but later in the year or early next year. So thank you. And from the team at 5 Days Live, who all love BeLive.tv. Oh, final shout out. Bridgetti mentioned a moment ago all the promotion that goes on. I'd like to thank Irene and especially Nini of BeLive.tv, who've done all the promotion in BeLivers on the BeLive.tv page this week and worked very hard behind the scenes actually helping us. And also all the graphics that we use come from one gentleman, and a shout out to Kevin for all the beautiful graphics he's prepared for us. So with that, we'll take our leave, and it's goodbye from Wiltshire in England.
Goodbye from Washington,
Goodbye from
DC.
Cape Town.
Bye for now. And